All right, mom. So, what is your view on marriage and relationship?
Well, relationship first. You have to start a relationship before you get to the marriage, right? So my thing is you have to spend time with the person. If you say live together, maybe you can live together for 6 or a year. You know what I mean? See how the person operates. See if it's somebody you would like to spend your rest of time with, because these ladies nowadays are meant to. Nowadays is like they're not focused, right? So you have to make sure you live with the person and then work together and see where it goes from there. And then if it's something you consider in the future to make the person be your wife or your husband, then you go forward. But you just don't see a person and first thing is marriage. No, it doesn't work like that. Friendship first, and then it leads to marriage, right?
So you're saying that for a relationship to be successful and for you to get to a point of um, basically knowing if this person is right for you, you have to go through like a series of things. Develop
Yes.
in like your friendship,
Mm-hmm.
right? Work on, the things that are working for you, kind of getting through like living together, you said for like a year or more. So during that time, you'll be able to focus on the things that are working and work on the things that you need help in certain areas, right? So
Right.
it tells you and gives you like that blueprint or that test period where you know if this is the right person for you, right?
Yes. And sometimes you not even know if it's the right person sometimes, because they come sometimes like a wolf in a sheep clothing. You understand? Because they're so in love with you and so say want you, then them not have no time for you. Them not want you to see the real person. You understand? So they do those little things to capture your mind. Then when you're married now, then everything start to reveal. Then you're gonna be with a far gone in it now. For you remember you're married for better, for worse. You understand? But nobody now gonna tell me say worse will happen and I'm gonna sit in it. You understand? There comes a time in your life where you have to reach your breaking point, right? And then you separate. You understand?
Which is
So,
very interesting because there's like a lot of wolf in sheep
sheep
clothing,
clothing,
right?
yes.
So they do go based on if they think that you're like the weaker link. I think that's what marriage sometimes does, right?
Yes.
It's like they probably want somebody else, but because that person is not, achievable, they go for what is like safe. So if you're showing them consistency, if you're showing them loyalty, if you're showing them a good time, buying gifts and they're always laughing, that's their happy place. But like once you get to marriage and the real stuff start
Start
happening,
to happen. The real
then-
person start
right.
to reveal. The real me.
right? Because
I
at that
really
point,
do.
like that honeymoon phase is already gone, right?
Yes.
And now you're dealing with me, you're living with me, and if you've never lived with me before and we got married and this is the first time, then like a lot of things are gonna peel back, a lot of things are gonna be shown, and your true colors, right?
Exactly.
Right. So sometimes people get fascinated with the whole idea of marriage, and they just think that it's always going to be like a smooth sailing
No.
experience, and it's never going to be that.
No.
And one of the things that you know the words is like teeth and tongue have to meet.
Yes.
And basically just like in the midst of everything you're going to have arguments,
Yeah, you're gonna
but
have arguments.
it's just about how do you
How you deal with it.
how do
Yeah.
you do conflict resolutions, right? And are you making sure that with those conflict resolution, you're fighting equally and you're fighting fairly? Because not everything requires for you to get into like these big outbursts of arguments where you just say some things where you're upset and you're mean
Right.
and you just cannot come back from.
Right.
Right? Because if you start calling me out of my name, if you start abusing me mentally or physically, like at that point, like where do we go from there?
There you go.
Right? Because now that becomes a bigger issue, like, and a lot of people sometimes stays in marriages because they're scared, they don't want to be failing, and like they normally say the first few years are the hardest, right?
Yes.
And that may be true, but I feel as if like if you already knew your person and if you already been going through that journey, like you said, living together, seeing what works and what doesn't work,
Yep.
you know, once you get married, that's just like an extra layer just to say like we're here, but nothing should change. But I feel as if like people get to that point only because they never spent enough time venting or getting to know each other
Right.
beyond the surface, like you said.
Right.
Because, you know, they were just always in that little la la land where it's just more so, this is fun, this is exciting, I could, you know, have good time with you, whatever it is. And now when the real thing comes, that's when they fold and that's when they just get nervous and that's when they just don't know how to maneuver and the manipulation comes in and that's
And
when
the
they're trying
abuse.
yes and that's when they're trying to run for the hills within a short period of time.